Charlie is awesome. He is a consummate professional, but he also likes to have fun. So the rest of them, I think I was saying to someone today, the rest of them were like doing 17-hour days in these big, you know, contraptions, and we're all in pain. But me and Charlie just kind of messed around and had a good time, you know. I think we were, yeah, he's, I don't know if any of you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but he's sort of, he's great. And he writes, and I don't think he directs, but he certainly writes. They're all very involved in it. And so yeah, he was just fun to work with. Great guy. Right here?
Since you've done British and American, do you have a specific script that you like to do? Like, do you prefer British, or do you do American, since British seems more dialogue and American more straight to the point? Which do you prefer?
Yeah, you know what? Now there's less and less difference. To be honest, this series I'm doing in Virginia, it's for AMC, and it's some of the best scripts I've ever read. And it's about the Brits and the Americans. It's kind of the perfect marriage. The writers' teams that you have here, we don't really have that in the UK. Those of you familiar with Doctor Who, it's kind of authored, like Stephen Moffat will do one, Mark Gatiss will do one, Russell T will do, you know, one episode or two episodes. But in the States, it seems to me that there's a team of writers, most of which have been to, you know, Princeton or Harvard, and, you know, they're just incredibly clever minds. And they all get together and you know, they kind of come up with these great scripts. Like both countries, there's a lot of crap too, but I feel like, especially now, this so-called golden age of television, everyone wants to get into TV with the Breaking Bads and the Mad Men's and the Dexters, and, you know, it's just a really creative, exciting time. And this series is going to be great. I'm really excited about it.
Over here in the fence.
I pretty much, I don't know if anybody else this, but in Torchwood, how did you like working with John Barrowman?
Right. John, for those, has anyone met John?
No.
At all? You haven't met John Barrowman? You have not lived. No, he is like bottled lightning. He's such a nice guy, looked after us all, led the company. If anyone was ever down, he'd bring in like donuts and, you know, just keep feeding you sugar and candy. But he's a great guy, and to be honest, it was just fun. He's kind of filthy as well. Like, I can't really tell you about the things because it's, you know, not age appropriate, but yeah, he's kind of a pretty out there guy. He's, you know, he was amazing as Captain Jack. I loved him, and now in Arrow and stuff, and long may it continue with John. He's a great guy. Yeah. We had a good time on it.
Oh, yep, right over here.
How badly did Owen Harper's death hurt you?
Yeah, that's right. Which one? Oh my God! Just kill me already. No, I love doing Torchwood. It was a strange time because we were stuck in. We weren't stuck. We were filming down in Wales the same time as Doctor Who with the 10th Doctor. So it was a feeling of like we were on this TARDIS set all the time, and you'd go to lunch and there'd be a Sontar, and then there'd be, you know, it kind of felt like this great big thing going on. But the BBC kind of left us alone. They didn't know what we were doing. So you could have these far-out stories where people died and got... I think we should all acknowledge that Owen was an ass. I'm not like him. I mean, there's bits of me that are like him. I promise you I'm a good guy. But I thought that at least he kind of showed, you know, that everyone's a bit kind of grey. I mean, we're not all good or all bad. We struggle day to day, don't we? And I thought that he had this hard shell, which a lot of us have, and he was pretty cynical. But I thought the story was dealt with well, and by the time he died, that kind of was time for him to finish in Torchwood, because, I mean, you know, can you imagine them going in and going, yeah, we're Torchwood, and Owen's arm flies off, and, you know, he was kind of done. So, and at least we went out with some resolution with Tosh, you know, just a little bit. I always feel like that kind of spark was, yeah, it was great. But it was time to go, definitely.
Right here.
What was it like working under the direction of
He's another amazing director. Like, there's a few of them around now who are complete visual and creative geniuses. And I would say that Guillermo, considering the budget of Pacific Rim, he still managed to bring a really kind of fluid, creative. You never see him pressured. You know, you come into work, gives you a big hug, let's have some fun. You know, he leads from the front. He edits as he's filming. Like most, he just kind of splits his brain so he'll know which shot he wants. He's a genius. And so to work with him again is just, yeah, I would do anything to keep working with him. He's amazing. Amazing.
Over here.
What was your favorite episode of Shooting Torchwood?
I think we always say the same one, but all of us had such a good time on Countryside, which was episode 4. We kind of, it was the first time we got out of Cardiff and they kind of let us free in the countryside. And we had a party and we just did lots of naughty things and it was just such fun. That was probably, but your costume is awesome. Can we have a round of applause for the... It's so good. And it is still definitely the scariest one for me. It's just like, yeah, it's great.
In the back.
The question was, it seems like Dark Knight Rises, you were like, with Tom Hardy and Bane, when y'all were together, was he using like the Bane voice, or was that like added like
No, it was a very controlled, focused set. So Tom would kind of be in character when you turn up, and he's big, right?
using that voice?
Yeah, he'd do his own thing. You kind of don't really, talk to the other actors so much when it's that focused. He's kind of getting into his thing, and I was getting into mine, and it was quite quiet. I know Tom from before, worked in some other project with him, and he is an amazing actor. He's an incredible, he transforms himself. So when he was Bane, I was like, I'm going to leave this guy alone. It was great, though.
Right here in the front.
Your new show, are you filming it on the actual battlefields in Virginia or just in the areas in Virginia?
We're not. We're filming in Virginia, but it's actually based around Long Island, a place called Setauket and the Sound. Are you from there? This is a true story of a spy ring that Washington set up. And it was from this tiny village where they all knew each other. One was a cabbage farmer, one was a longshoreman, one was there was a woman involved in it who still hasn't been discovered who she was. And they created this amazingly efficient spy ring because they wouldn't let anyone who wasn't an old family friend of theirs in. It turned the tide of the war. Washington got amazing information about what the British were up to. And to be honest, it really made a massive difference. So, yeah, we're filming in Virginia, which is an incredible place. I mean, I love it there. And we're using a lot of the kind of state land and stuff, the rolling vistas, and it looks amazing. It really does.
So you're in the Jamestown area?
We're in Richmond, based in Richmond, but we're using the same sets as, well, the kind of areas. John Adams was shot there, Lincoln was shot there. They kind of have a lot of the, obviously, historical stuff there. Not so much from 1776, but it's just, the place just reeks of history, doesn't it? It's just a great place. And we've been made very welcome there.
Well, American history, because...
Yeah, American history.
Yeah. Because, like, compared to England, I used to, actually, I worked with a lady, and we were talking one day, and we were talking about kind of how old some of the things were in America, and she's like, my family lives in a home in England that's over 400 years old. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. Mere 1776, yeah.
Right over here.
So you mentioned you've been in movies, you've been in TV, and you were talking about some of the great the actors who are going for TV roles.
Sure.
If you could just put yourself on any set, just by choice, is there any dream, like, I wish I could do something on that?
TV or film?
TV now.
Oh, do you know what? I'm a massive Star Wars fan. So even to be a little squeaky a little tiny part in the Clone Wars or any part of the canon, I'd be like, yeah. So, and that also relates to the film. Like, I'm just like, JJ, look, I'll do anything. I mean, you know me, I'm not that biggie, but I'll literally, you know. So I'm so excited for that, you know.
Right over here.
Did you ever keep up with watching Torchwood after your character was killed off? Is there anything about them going on with the series that you would have liked to see change?
Honestly, I definitely watched season 3 and I really loved it, but I feel bad in saying I've never actually watched 4 as of yet, for no reason other than I just haven't got around to it. So, but yeah, but you know, I sort of think these things have to grow and evolve, and I don't know. It's the thing about Torchwood, and I'm sure the fans of Torchwood know, is that it was a kind of strange little younger brother to Doctor Who. It was kind of a bit awkward and spiky and sexual and doesn't fit in any box, which is like a lot of us, right? And I think that's what people relate to, that it was this very unique thing, which sometimes was a bit rubbish, and sometimes was absolutely amazing, and yet we all invested in it, you know. So I think the story for me in season 3, I was happy with that kind of, you know, conclusion. And when Yanto died, you know, it was sad. It's like, you know, but like all these things, you know, they have to come to an end at some point. So.
Some people watch their work, some people don't watch their work. Where are you?
I find it, I don't enjoy watching myself back because in your own head, as I'm sure you know, you kind of know what you were trying to do in the scene. But now I'm a bit more, like say for example this new show, I've got this big wig, I'm dressed in this red thing and stockings and I'm on a horse all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you look pretty strange, you know. But I'm interested in the subject matter, so I do want to watch it. But I try not to look back on work because it's a bit like sculpting in snow. You've got the moment, you try and do your best, the best that you can do, and then after that you kind of have to let it go, don't you?
Oh, right here.
What's the biggest life lesson you learned throughout your career?
That's a great question. And I think it's a daily thing, especially though all the actors who are out of work. I try and appreciate every job and every day and try and be positive about, you know, how lucky you are to be working in this incredible field and getting paid for it sometimes. You know, like how lucky I am. And I genuinely feel like I try and appreciate that, you know what I mean? It's very easy to forget that you're in an extremely privileged position that thousands of people would, you know, give their left arm to be in. So I think it's, yeah, I try and be appreciative, take every experience for what it can give me.
What actually was the first acting job that you ever did?
It was professionally, do you mean?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It was an ITV soap opera called Coronation Street, which is like the longest running soap in the UK. And it's set up north and everyone talks like this and, you know, eats pies and, you know, it's quite... But it's a kind of British institution. So I went in and was terrible as this cult leader. I mean, like, I had no idea what to do for a camera, so I was sort of learning on the job. So I look back on it with kind of great fondness and also just like, oh my God, that was terrible. You know? But you learn on the job, you know? I had a good time.